What's up, everybody? Brandon Johnson here again, and thanks for joining me. Today we're taking a look at the classic Norman Blake style tune, Slow Train Through Georgia. Now this is a really cool tune, and I wanted to explore specifically hybrid picking in this song, which is where we take a regular flat pick in our right hand and integrate it with a little bit of finger picking elements with maybe just one finger, which I've seen, some of the great pickers out there like Clarence White, Tony Rice. Clarence White with his famous B-bender Telecaster guitar really innovated this style of picking and brought it into the bluegrass world. And we're capo 3 on this one, so we're going to be capoing up to the 3rd fret, which again is another common sort of capo position that you see a lot. We also take a look at the rhythm section at the end of this lesson and the chord structure, because there's actually a measure of 6 at the very end. So anyways, I hope you enjoy this one. Let's check it out. Okay, let's take a look at Slow Train Through Georgia. So remember, we're kind of following this theme of the driving sort of hybrid picking style that we're going for here. And this song really starts out with just kind of a basic claw move. And we're going to describe this basic claw move right now with our right hand. So we're holding our pick in our right hand, or our picking hand if you're left-handed. And we're just going to be holding it between our thumb and our index finger like we normally would. And instead of just straight picking, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a little bit of hybrid picking. So you're going to be picking with your pick, of course. And then you're going to be taking your middle finger and you're going to be playing an upstroke on the higher strings. And we're going to try to do those two things simultaneously. So you're just going to place your pick on that A string. And then with kind of a claw motion, we're just going to pluck that high open E. And you could also play this with a thumb pick as well. And you could play it with a thumb pick and your index finger, or a thumb pick and your middle finger. It's really just a matter of personal preference. But that's kind of the basic claw move that we're going for here. And that's also the first notes of measure number 1. So you'll see that 3rd fret A and that open E being played simultaneously. And what that really is a C chord, an open C major chord. Okay, and then you'll see 2nd fret D to 3rd fret high E. So that 2nd fret D is just going to be part of that C major chord. So we're just going to continue to hold this C major chord. And we're just going to place our little finger here on the high E 3rd fret. Okay, and we're still making that basic claw motion with our right hand. But this time it's going to be on the D string and the high E string. Okay, so the first two notes there. So that's kind of our basic claw motion. And we're going to be using that throughout this entire song here. Now, what we're going to do here is you'll see that 1st fret B. And that's actually on an upstroke. So that 1st fret B is going to be just picked like we normally would on an upstroke. And we're just going to pick that out on its own. And then you'll see 2nd fret D, 3rd fret high E again. And then again, you'll see that 3rd fret A to open high E again. So there's a little bit of repetition here. And in this particular chord, C chord variation, I added the 2nd fret D and even the open G, although, because that's kind of like where you can kind of strum a few more of the strings while also playing that high E with your middle finger. So you could do it that way, or you could just kind of do it like we did at the beginning of the measure here, where you're just playing the 3rd fret A and that high E. Okay, and that's the first half of measure number 1. Now here's where things get a little bit tricky, and we're going to need to do a stretch here. We're really going to need to stretch our hand, and this might be difficult for you, but it's something that actually was really difficult for me as well when I first started playing this song. I could barely even get up here, and that's the whole point of learning these tunes is to just, you know, sort of work your muscle memory and to kind of develop that kind of emotion. So the basic motion here at the middle of measure number 1 is we're going to take our little finger and we're going to stretch all the way to this 5th fret high E. And we're going to make that same claw motion with our right hand with our little finger on the 5th fret high E. And try to do your best to kind of hold that C major chord shape. Okay, so there's our stretch position. That might be difficult. You might need to work on that a little bit. And then again, you'll see that 1st fret B again. So it's going to be kind of the similar motion where we played, remember at the beginning here, we played the 2nd fret D to 3rd fret high E, upstroke on the 1st fret B, and then back. We're going to be doing kind of a similar thing here with that 5th fret, except we're going to work our way down on this high E string. So we're going to go from the 5th fret high E, hitting that high B string on the upstroke, and then we're going to go to that 3rd fret high E, hitting the B again, and then the open high E. So it's actually kind of a walk down on the high register here. So you can practice that walk down kind of over and over again. And you can just kind of work that muscle memory and get those fingers stretched out, and I think you'll find that eventually you'll be able to make that stretch. And then what you'll see at the end here is an open G, 3rd fret B. So we're just holding the C chord still, but we're just simply playing these 2 notes on an upstroke on their own. And then an open G to 1st fret B on a downstroke. All right, so that whole measure is going to sound like this. Okay, and that leads us into measure number 2. Okay, and then when we look at measure number 2 now, we have a G to a C chord here. And again, we're still using this exact same kind of hybrid claw motion that we've been learning throughout this whole song, except this time we're going to apply it over the low E and the B string. And basically here we're just playing kind of a 2-note G chord. So that's 3rd fret low E and 3rd fret B. I like to play that with my ring finger and my little finger because that's kind of close to a G major chord shape here. And I always like to play out of these chord shapes to kind of remind myself where I am. So we've got that 3rd fret low E, 3rd fret B. And again, we're going to be playing this open string here in between kind of this claw motion we've been learning. Right, so in this case, it's the open D string. And you can just hear that G chord kind of ringing out. Okay, and then you're going to see an open B. So we're going to take this exact same thing that we're playing here, and we're just going to remove our little finger. And then we're going to play the open G with the same claw motion. So really what we're doing here is we're skipping kind of those passing notes that we had before, right? In this case, the open D we have at the beginning of measure number 2. We're going to be kind of skipping that for the next few quarter notes or the next few eighth notes and just simply playing kind of the open B and the open G along with this 3rd fret low E. and that brings us to our C chord now. And for our C chord, we're going to be playing still the same little claw motion here, right, with our picking hand. And we're going to be doing it over the A string, the 3rd fret A string. And then here you'll see a hammer-on the B string, right? So we're hammering on this open B to 1st fret B. And you can see we're kind of in this C major chord position again. Except we're just hitting kind of those 2 strings with that hammer-on with your index finger. And then what you'll see after that little hammer on there is you'll see the 2nd fret D, open G, and then that 3rd fret low E. Now again, that 3rd fret low E is kind of part of the G major chord, right? It's the root of the G major chord, but in this case, because we're playing over a C chord, it's actually an alternating bass note, which is really cool to throw in there. And you can get kind of an alternating bass or a walking bass feel out of your guitar. And then we have the open G to 2nd fret D at the end. Okay, so that whole measure is going to sound like this. So kind of the second half of this measure here is going to be more picked than finger picked or hybrid picked in this case. Okay, so let's play measures 1 and 2 all the way through to the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that leads us into measure number 3.